So, hello, not been around for a while, so it's just an update for Cathy's flower house to show you my progress so far. So all the flowers are finished. Taken a long time to get the flowers done, very fiddly in places, but they are finally all finished. So now I'm starting on putting things together. So the first thing I've managed to do is I've put all the flowers for this one together, and then now I've glued them on in place because I thought that was easier and they don't move around. So we've got all the little tiny little flowers. These were the fiddliest flowers of all. So if you're ever doing this particular kit, just be aware that these are very fiddly. I did buy a magnifying glass with a light on it, but unfortunately that was so frustrating because all I kept doing was touching the glass instead of doing the actual gluing. So you can imagine that was quite frustrating. So these are where we are so far. We've got the little trug at the back, which we made on another occasion, now filled with some flowers on it. So if you can see them on the back, the little fold-up bags, they were so much fun, those bags, trying to fold them and crease them where they ask you to crease them. So if you're going to do this kit, I would say be prepared for fiddliness because believe me and you, it does get fiddly. So, but we're actually at the other end now, so we're starting to put things together, and gradually the greenhouse will come together. So that's one I've done. Put that to one side. Oops, hang on, don't go falling over on me and losing even more bits. So next one I've done is the shelf. Now the little spade thing that's on the shelf, that came in the kit already made, so I didn't have to actually physically make that one, so that was quite good. But with these two flowers, I did make these flowers out of following the instructions, so that's that one. Then there was the little stool, that was quite a while ago, and I had to make the paintbrush that sits on the top of the stool. So I'm finding that if I glue them together, glue them in place, then they don't move, which is much better. So that's that one. So I've got that together now, and now I'm going to be if it stands up, okay. And then the easel, fairly easy. Only had to put the pencil on there. Pencil was quite an interesting thing to do because you needed a sharp knife and just literally scrape the end off, and it produces this pencil effect at the end there. So that's quite good. That was quite interesting. So those ones are all done. So today I'm going to have a go at putting the flowers into the little cupboard, for want of a better word. It's quite interesting because you have to go through the book and find all the flowers. So I'm going to collect all these flowers together before I start gluing them in place. So that'll take me a couple of minutes to find all the flowers. So I shall find all the flowers and then I shall start putting them into place. Okay, so I have a plant that's got to go in this one. We've got a little book for this one, which I had to make all the little pages in the book. I've actually got to make two little flowers, so that's going to be an example to you on how that comes about. Done this quite a few times throughout the whole thing, so I haven't got to cut anything, but I just put the scissors there to give you an idea about how things look size wise. So effectively these little pieces of pink are going to become a flower. So that's got to be rolled up. Now the way that I've done these is I've actually added the glue at the end. So literally a little spot of glue is all that it takes, because the glue is very generous. So you just need a little spot of glue. You won't be able to see that, but there is just a little spot, and obviously making sure that each time you use the glue you put the lid back on, because otherwise it sets. And then it's a case You do get glue on your fingers with this, I have to say. And I don't think you have any other way other or not to get glue on your fingers. So you're literally going to roll this up. And it's getting it started is the difficult piece. Because it's a tiny, tiny piece of paper that you're rolling up in your fingers. So, not easy to see how I'm doing it, but I am doing it. And literally just rolling that up. And the glue will end up on your fingers, I can guarantee it. And that becomes this very, very tiny little thing that you can't really see is a flower, is going to become a flower. So you need to hold it with your nail just to set it. And then once it's set, let's find the tweezers. I didn't find the tweezers in the kit very good at all. I did resort in the end to getting my own tweezers. So you need to take it off your finger and just put it somewhere safe, because things do disappear, I've discovered with this as well. And you'll see what we're going to do with that one, and I can do the second one. Come on, off you get. Downside is if you've got glue on your fingers and you're trying to get it off a finger, it doesn't want to go. Right, let's resort to my metal ones. There we go. So now I've got to do the same thing with this other piece. So again, it literally should be a spot of glue. Don't think you have to put masses of glue on, because this glue is, when it sets, it is literally like cement. So it is tiny, tiny bit, not a massive, a little spot. And again, rolling it up to form the flower. Once you've got it where you need to put it, it stays in place, but it's getting there in the first place. So I'm just going to pinch that together with my tweezers and hold it there for a couple of seconds. I mean, you can see how tiny that is. Quite literally tiny. And if you had some dark against it, you probably see it better. So you can see there, it doesn't look anything on this film, but you can definitely see a flower when you look at it in the cold light of day. So I'm just going to take that one off of there, because what it wants me to do now is use some greenery. So if I get it off my oh dear, you do have hours of fun with this. You can see why it's taken me so long to get back to you. So, but what we need to do now is we need to open up bag 4. Now bag 4, that I have to say is the numbering of the bags helps an awful lot when you're doing this. And I want the greenery for this is going to be this one here. So I've got to open this bag and pull out the little bag inside, which has got the greenery in it that I need. And I don't need an awful lot, because I'm going to put the greenery in this drawer. So for this particular part, I'm going to actually take the drawer out of the completely, so that I can then fill it full of the greenery easier, rather than try and leave it in the drawer. I only want the greenery at one end. So, okay, come on fingers. Okay, so this greenery, it's a bit like when you're making a railway model, I think. It's a similar sort of materials. It's very, very fine, but it looks very effective once it's put together. So I just need bits of it. I don't need all of it. So I'm trying to separate one piece out is the fun part. I only need one piece, and I won't use all of that, I wouldn't have thought. So I'm just taking that one piece out. I'm going to put the rest back in the bag, and then that'll come in on another section. So that's the other key thing as well, is when you're doing, if you're doing this model, is put things back in the place you got them from, because I tell you what, it does help you an awful lot when you're trying to find stuff. it's very well done. It tells you which bag numbers you need to use, and the bits you need are in that bag. But it is very very difficult if you don't actually put the stuff back in the right bags. So make sure if you're doing this that you're putting it back in the right bags. Now I'm going to use some of this to fill up this drawer, but I don't want the whole drawer filled because obviously I've got to put it back into the cabinet. So I'm literally going to take some of these strands off. Now sometimes they come off without you having to do very much, like that piece. And I think it goes over the edges a bit, so I'm going to cut that bit in half, because then I can drape that over the side of the drawer. And glue is the only other thing you need on this one as well. And a dollop of glue inside is the best way forward, because you can then position things. And then, as I said a minute ago, it is like cement. It will dry like cement. So pushing it into the glue and bending works really well. So I'm just bending that over, and I might even in a minute put some glue on the front. And you're filling this drawer up with the greenery. So it's a bit of flower arranging in some respects. So plenty of it in there, and the little pieces are great because they will just stick to anything. And just take off pieces of the greenery as you need it. There's another piece that's just come across on there, so I can push that into the inside. Tweezers come in really helpful because you can pick things up and position them. So I've put the glue on the inside of the drawer, and I will bend that over the edge to get the effect. And then I need a little bit more across the front, so I'm just going to snip a piece off. And I think I can lay that one across the front. That'll give quite a good effect, I think. So I'm just going to pop some bits of glue. With this glue, what I've actually found is that if you start it off, it's like a vacuum. If you put too much out, just take off your finger off of the button, so to speak, and then drag it. And I found that will then give you a snail's trail of glue. So there's I'll turn it over. Can you see the glue is on there and over the sides? I lay it down. So those two little pieces of pink have literally got to be pushed in. So I'm just going to use the glue that's already in there and just hope there's enough on there to attach them. If not, it'll be another dollop. And tweezers, as I say, come in handy to position things. So one at that end, and I do think I need a dollop at this end. And then I should be able to just pick that up and drop it into the glue. It's a very simple thing, but very effective. So there's the drawer with the flowers in it. So I can now push that drawer into the cabinet, but not completely close it. So it gives you the effect that there's greenery coming out that drawer. I don't want to close it completely. Hopefully that's reasonably clear for what you're looking at. So the two bits on the top are the book and the flowers. So again, I'm going to put a dollop of glue on the top of the cabinet. On said double glue, and then I'm just literally going to put the flowers pot on there. I decided that gluing the flower pots in place on the items is a much better way of doing things, because then when you're coming to put it together in the greenhouse, things aren't going to be falling off. So the book, and it's very difficult to see in the, it's just slit, it is sitting on the top of the cabinet. So again, a bit of glue, I think this is taking more time than the actual flowers were. Again, don't forget to put your lid on so you don't, and the book will just sit on the cabinet. So there we have the book and the flowers on the cabinet. I'll just turn it around very slowly, you can see. So that is that drawer in the cabinet done. So I'm just going to find the next item. So I think that's another bookcase. So it's that one. So we're going to find the items to go on there, and then we're going to have a go at putting those items and build that one. Okay, so for this shelving, we've got the bird box, we've got a paper bag, we've got two crates. One's got twine that I've put all the way around it and then filled it up with more greenery and a false flower in there, and the other one is a box that's got material and a rolled up piece of paper in it. The only other thing I need to do is to get out of bag 5 a teardrop vase. That's what it said, I think. Yep, teardrop vase. So you can see in here we've got lots of little bits and pieces. So the teardrop vase is this one here. So let's just get that one out of the bag. Okay, and put that to one side so we don't lose anything. So again, there is an order in which things have to go. So the birdhouse, oh, I need a little pot there, that little pot there. Tiny little pot, tiny little pot with a bit of greenery in it. Okay, so these are the elements that are going to go on this shelf. So let's start from underneath. Always best to start from underneath because your arms don't get in the way then. So the 2 crates go in underneath. So once again, a bit of glue will enable me to put it in place properly. So okay, so blob of glue on the bottom. And I can just slide that onto the shelf and position it. So that's in, and then this goes beside it. No, just check which way that's got to go. So looks like the roll of paper. That roll of paper has got to stick out that way over the back. So again, blob of glue on the bottom. Put the cap on. This might take a couple of seconds to put it into place, and then slide it in next door to the other crate. So I've got to get it in so with the paper as well. Oh, that's a bit tight. That's okay. Bit of pressure, and then I can reposition that piece of that was holding it. That's the bit that was causing the problem. So I've now got those 2 next to one another and the roll of paper at the back. Just pop it, lower it down So they're both now in place. So now I can concentrate on the top. So the bird box has got to go that way on the top. So again, bit of glue, which could be interesting because there's no base to this bird box. So the bird box has got to go on this end above the other box. I don't think it really makes a lot of difference. It's their suggestions of where things go. So I think if you had to, you could change it to fit your own ideas. And I'm just going to stick him on the shelf. And then that has got the bag. So the bird box, is the bird box facing out or on one side? It's got two pictures on it, so we want to see the front of the bird box. So I'm going to put it like that, and then I'm going to put the other bag. Oh, these were so fiddly. And then you had to roll the top. Well, I don't have an implement that will roll it, so I just folded it in the end. I think you have to take a bit of artistic license when you're doing this. Come on, out you come. Bit of glue, and the bag's going to go that way on the top. So we've now got the bird box and the bag. So next to that will go our teardrop empty vase. I did wonder actually when I was doing this why there were so many empty bits, and now I'm understanding that why there are so many empty bits. So a bit of a big blob, bigger blob than I meant. So that's going to go on there. That'll soon sort itself out. And then we've got a little pot with some greenery in it. So that's going to sit at the back. I think it's quite good because you've got something to look at from all angles. So that I think is a good idea, good thing. So position him when you can straighten him up. All that is just a ball inside a little container when I was doing this. So that's the ball. And then the last thing is this tiny, literally is, if I put the tweezers next to it, you can see how tiny that is. And that piece sits next to the bird box at the front. So I'm not quite sure which is the best way to do this one. So I'm going to try this way first and put that blob of glue onto the table like that. And then I'm going to pick that up and just drop it into place. And just use my tweezers to hold it in place, maybe at an angle. Don't want everything looking as though they've been in the army. So this is the shelving now done on that one. Looks quite effective actually once they start coming together. So that's another one done. So we're now going to find there's one more shelving unit to do, and then a shelf. So I think I'm going to do the shelf because those pieces are quite handy to find. So this is the shelf, and that's got another one of those balls on it. It's got a bag which says flowers, which is that one, and then it's got a picture. So that's the picture will sit on there. Okay, so let's put those pieces in place. That's quite an easy one to do. So we'll start with the bag with the flowers, I think. Oh, take the lid off. Not quite sure how this is going to fit into the greenhouse yet. I haven't got to that bit. I think that's the next fun part. That we've got to put things in actually in the greenhouse. So that piece, that one's going to go on there. Just hold it in place for a second or two. The picture is going to go to one side, so the picture will go there. So a bit of glue on the bottom of the picture. Much easier with the glue, I think. It holds things in place. And then the little ball with the greenery in it goes in front of the picture. So let's just put that blob on the shelf. And then that will sit on that shelf. So that's that shelf done as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry on putting the things onto the shelves. This one is the next one that I'm going to have a go at, and then I will come back to you when I start putting things actually into the greenhouse, and then have to make the greenhouse bit. So I'll pause things with you there, and don't forget to subscribe, because if you subscribe, if you want to carry on seeing what the final result looks like, you need to make sure you subscribe below. So subscribe on this one, the subscribe button, press that, and then you'll get notifications when I've put in the next one video up. So I say cheerio for now, and I will see you as soon as I can.